Oh, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, you still don't get it with Indy 5 and its core Star Wars fans and Indiana Jones fans out there even that really love what George Lucas's vision of Star Wars and Indiana Jones is really all about. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support, and let's get right into exactly what's going on with Waller-Bridge as of late. Now, as you all know, Phoebe really actually contributed a lot to the story of Indy 5, and James Mangold actually allowed all of that to happen. It was very much similar to how things went down with Bond 25 and how Phoebe Waller-Bridge also played a very big role in contributing to the story and really contributing to many portions of the script. Now, when we look at elements of what's been happening with Indy 5, we know that there's been a lot of problems arising out of this movie for multiple reasons. Phoebe Waller-Bridge called the shots on making Indiana a broken man in this movie. That was the big number one. Number two, she also called the shots on giving the green light for a Helena backstory to be told by Mangold in Indy 5 as well. Now, moving forward to what she had to say about the fans, of course, related to the Indiana Jones franchise, begins to really insult the fans, especially the passionate ones that are concerned about this film and how this really taints a proper send-off for the final Indiana Jones movie. And I don't know about you guys, but I've said this many times about Harrison Ford that at this age of 80, I would be more worried about my legacy than a paycheck. 110%. Moving on. Now, with those like Phoebe Waller-Bridge promoting Indy 5 further at last minute, she recently responded to what she calls the toxic fandom by stating the following to fans around the globe. I just think those fans, if you even want to call them that, need to seriously grow up already. These are nothing more than basement dwellers. I agree with Mangold's comments on these types of fans that are not fans, but are posers. These fans that are yelling and crying about our film are just man babies that won't accept diversity and female empowerment, and I have said this one too many times, but it's bloody childish behavior, and this is why the film industry is lacking creativity these days. What we created with the fifth film for Indy, I feel really is far better than the original three by George and Steven. James really did such a phenomenal job directing this thing, and how he gave me permission to free flow my dialogue and improvise with some scenes was also a big treasure acting in this movie as Helena. Now guys, let me pause here quick for a second. A couple of things that are just completely insane coming out of Phoebe Waller-Bridge's mouth is that she believes that this movie is going to outperform the true three films is just ludicrous. I don't know about you about that, but I think that this is just her. Also, much like Steven Spielberg and much like James Mangold, are trying to oversell this film. Now, Phoebe Waller-Bridge admitting that she contributed to the script, that she contributed to convincing James Mangold to allow her to really improvise her dialogue in this movie and to allow her to kind of have her own freedom of what Helena is going to say in this movie as far as the character goes, right? I think that's another reason why you have cringe-worthy dialogue. And it's not just because of Phoebe, it's also because of Kathleen Kennedy pushing that agenda. This is no different than Solo: A Star Wars Story, with L337 delivering that cringe-worthy dialogue in the Han Solo film, aka the moment where L3 is like, equal rights? I would like equal rights. You know, it was just so not in line with Star Wars. Not in the slightest. And so the same exact thing is applying here. We know that Phoebe has been very upfront about this, that Indy 5 is an educational piece. It is going to be a movie that reminds people about history, about how specific governments work, and all these different things that will be presented throughout 1960s culture, and even different decades, because of course we're dealing with the dial, hence time travel, etc., etc. So, moving on to the next thing here, this is where things begin to get a little bit more complex. She goes on to state further, I am glad that we are discussing sequels, but James wants nothing to do with them. He is walking away and feels sequels may be overdoing it, which is the only thing that I disagree with him on that front. As a creator and as a filmmaker, I cannot wait for that opportunity to pop up for expanding Helena's story. I am discussing for that opportunity to pop up for expanding Helena's story. Of course, we don't know if it will be in the form of a movie or a series just yet, time will tell. But these fake fans that refuse to pay for a ticket are only ruining the experience for others by giving it negative press. It's a sad world that we live in, and this is why the film industry needs a major makeover for sure, with more diversity and more equality between men and women. I will make sure that happens with my Tomb Raider show, and that project that I'm still working on and chipping away at on and off, and I am so excited for that. I think fans will appreciate my vision for sure. Now, here's another piece of insanity by Phoebe Waller-Bridge toward the tail end there, is that she believes that the film industry needs a major makeover, and that we, the fans, that, you know, a lot of people out there are not going to see this movie or are deciding that they don't feel it's necessary to purchase a ticket, then you are the problem. Then you are the people ruining the experience for others. In other words, guys, what it really translates to is that we are the cause of them losing money. They don't want to say it, she doesn't want to say it, but that's what it translates to. It has nothing to do with ruining the experience of other people seeing this film. It's like me, I'm not dictating what you guys can do, you know, or not do. You know, if you guys want to see Indy 5, so be it. I'm not going to judge you. If you guys don't want to see it, I'm not going to judge you on that either. You know, people have their personal choices, and that's fine. So it has nothing to do with us being outspoken that impacts the storytelling. There's just nothing, no connection there at all whatsoever. And the fact that she believes that Hollywood or the film industry needs a major makeover, she's got it backwards. It's actually people like her that are causing Hollywood to crumble that makes it need a major makeover. You know, that's the core of the problem. That's the real source of the issues arising film by film, out of course, Disney and out of Lucasfilm, whatever it may be. Even Marvel's going downhill lately. So there needs to be a change in that front where we have more talented creators that don't push the diversity card, that don't push the equality card, and just let that naturally happen, right? This has been around for decades. This has never been an issue in the film industry. It's always been accepted because it just naturally came through. When you force that, it just comes across as very inauthentic, with cringeworthy dialogue, cringeworthy actors and or actresses being chosen for the part. Look at the Kenobi series. Look at, of course, other projects out there that really tried to push that. I mean, there are so many endless examples. Even the Ghostbusters 2016 movie, that was like the very beginning of this whole movement, of this whole change by Hollywood, and that failed right off its nose. So anyways, guys, I would really love to hear your take on what Phoebe Waller-Bridge is saying about the fans, insulting the fans, really putting them on the spot. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.